This could change the Raiders' future, and no one saw it coming. A name that's turning heads across the NFL could be on its way to Las Vegas. And my friend, if this deal goes through, we're talking about an immediate signing. International sources are already buzzing behind the scenes, and I've gathered information that hasn't yet appeared in the major media outlets. But before I reveal everything, if you love the Raiders and want to know what's going on behind the scenes, like and subscribe now because this story involving one of the league's most promising wide receivers could become a dream come true. The Las Vegas Raiders may be entering what can only be described as dream trade territory. A report from the Raider Ramble shook the league on Saturday, claiming that the Jacksonville Jaguars are open to trading wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. And for the Raiders, this seems like a spark in the midst of a stormy season. Yes, that Brian Thomas Jr., the LSU star who turned heads with his electrifying combination of size, speed, and route-running results. The prospect of him donning silver and black sent Raider Nation into a frenzy. After all, this is a player who has already proven he's the real deal. Selected 23rd overall in 2024, Thomas came from one of the strongest wide receiver classes in recent NFL history, a class that included Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Nabers, and Rome Odin. Despite being selected late in the first round, Thomas wasted no time in proving his worth. His rookie season numbers, 1,282 receiving yards and 10 touchdowns, were impressive, especially considering he wasn't even a primary target for most of the year. So why would Jacksonville consider releasing him? According to international sources, there is growing internal tension surrounding the Jaguars' specific direction. And with Thomas approaching his next big contract, the front office may be testing his market value before committing long-term funds. But any deal for Thomas won't come cheap, and that's where things get complicated for Las Vegas. Several league sources suggest the Jaguars would like at least a first-round pick, possibly more. Some insiders have even floated the idea of a deal centered around Jacoby Myers and a second-round pick to move negotiations forward. This type of trade would make sense for both sides. Jacksonville gains draft capital and a reliable veteran, while the Raiders acquire a young, high-profile receiver to reshape their offense. But here's the million-dollar question. Should the Raiders do this? Coach Pete Carroll are trying to balance resistance and competition. They brought in Geno Smith to stabilize the quarterback position, but the veteran hasn't brought the spark the team hoped for. Adding a star like Thomas could help reignite the offense, but it also jeopardizes the Raiders' future financial flexibility. With young players Brock Bowers and Ashton Janty soon facing significant contract demands, investing heavily in another offensive weapon could make the salary cap situation much more difficult than a team can handle. There's also the developmental dilemma. The Raiders have two promising young receivers, Jack Beck and Dante Thornton Jr., both of whom have shown flashes of breakthrough potential this season. Bringing in Thomas could push them down the depth chart, giving them precisely the playing time they need to develop. For a team still discovering its identity, this is a significant consideration. Still, it's hard to ignore the attempt. Thomas is the type of player who can instantly transform an offense, a deep threat who demands double coverage and opens up opportunities for everyone around him. Imagine the chaos he could wreak alongside Bowers and Ginty. This trio could become one of the most explosive young offensive cores in the league. For Raider Nation, this is the kind of move that sparks excitement, hope, and headlines. Fans are eager for a statement from the front office, something that says, "No more waiting. We're ready to compete." But there are also risks. Big-name trades often carry high expectations and long-term consequences. If Thomas struggles to adapt or if Geno Smith continues to underperform, the decision could backfire. But while talk of a potential trade is taking hold in Las Vegas, The focus inside the locker room seems to be elsewhere, and the coach has already made it clear what the Raiders' real move should be at this point. The Las Vegas Raiders are at a crossroads. With a 2-5 record heading into the bye week, the season hasn't gone as planned. But this isn't a time to panic. It's a time to clarify. Coach Pete Carroll has made it clear this break isn't for rest, but for reflection, evaluation, and renewal. The Raiders have a golden opportunity to reshape their identity and set the tone for the second half of the 2025 season. Carroll, known for his tireless energy and belief in player development, spoke about the importance of using a bye week to reset. It's a great opportunity for self-evaluation. Carroll said, a chance to make sure we know what our opponents are selling, to adapt, and to be creative in how we move forward. It's also a time to look at our young players, see how much they've evolved, and figure out if they can help us. Now, these words perfectly captured the Raiders' current reality. With veterans struggling to perform consistently, the spotlight is turning to the younger generation, players who represent the future of the franchise. This is Carroll's time to see which of his rookies are ready to take the next step and who still needs more time to develop. Despite the losing record, there's no optimism. The season has shown glimpses of promise, and Carroll believes those glimpses can become reality if the young core continues to develop. A week off gives Las Vegas time to prepare for what could be a decisive stretch of games. One name that's starting to emerge in the locker room is Carter Renan. The rookie wide receiver made a statement by catching the first pass of the last game, a symbolic moment that represented more than just a completion. Renan has earned respect for his work ethic, reliability, and contributions on special teams. Carroll praised his progress, noting how his presence brings energy and accountability to the game. Carter has helped us since the day he arrived. Carroll said, he's been reliable in key moments, and now he's showing he can contribute as an intervention player. The more snaps we can give these rookies, players like Jack Beck and Dante Thornton Jr., the faster they'll grow. We can show them what needs work, not that they're good or where they can improve. Carroll emphasized that real growth doesn't come without difficulty. We have to go through some pain, he admitted. It's part of the process. By the time we get to the middle of the season, these guys should be more polished, ready to play, and able to bounce back from mistakes. That's the kind of progress we want. This is classic Pete Carroll, the coach who built his confidence on resilience, culture, and trust in his players. He's not just coaching to win games now, he's coaching to build a foundation that can last. The Raiders may not be contenders today, but Carroll is laying the groundwork for something sustainable. He wants his players to learn from adversity, to grow through competition, not collapse. And that's where this moment becomes crucial. The Raiders have a chance to use the second half of the season as a testing ground to see which players can become long-term pieces of the puzzle. It's not about giving up or sinking. It's about building a smarter, faster, and more resilient team. Meanwhile, as trade rumors swirl around the NFL, especially those linking Las Vegas to Brian Thomas Jr. of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Carroll's focus remains steadfast. He's not chasing headlines, he's building momentum from scratch. While a move for a young star like Thomas could improve the offense, Carroll knows that consistency and chemistry are just as valuable as talent. The Raiders' challenge now is to balance the excitement over potential roster changes with the need for internal growth. It's a delicate dance, one that could define the next chapter of Raiders football. Inside the locker room, players are responding to Carroll's message. Practices have been more competitive. The younger players are getting a deeper understanding with Pete Carroll, focusing on developing the Raiders' young core, and the team linked to a potential trade for wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. What do you think is the smarter move? Continue building patiently with the rookies, or make a bold trade now to give the offense an immediate spark? Leave your opinion here and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I'll be back later to update you with the latest Raiders news. Music, heat, music.